I am back from Podcast Movement in Los Angeles. I'm going to tell you all about that stuff live from the event. And I discovered a brand new tool, which is also designed to clean up bad audio.
Sound matters. Be heard. Welcome to the podcast where you get exclusive behind-the-scenes tips to make your own show sound truly spectacular. This is Podtastic Audio.
Hey, what's happening? How are you doing today? Thank you so much for being here. I am Chris, and I am from the original Chris and Christine Show podcast. You know, you can find out every single thing about that show on a website, which is, yeah, you guessed it, chrisandchristineshow.com. A link to it in the show notes of this very episode. You can scroll on down, and there it is. But you know what? Enough about me. How are you doing? How is that podcast of yours? How you doing with it? Are you enjoying your podcast? Is it making you enjoy podcasting? Are you dreading podcasting? Well, you know what? I am here to help you out. Let's turn that frown upside down and make sure you having a fantastic podcast for your audience. Now, I just got back into town last night from Podcast Movement in Los Angeles, and I'm here to tell you all about the wonderful time I had up there at the Podcast Movement Evolutions, which I just found out there are many different versions of Podcast Movement. I was at the Evolutions version of it. The big version, the main version of Podcast Movement is happening this, I believe it's this August in Washington, D.C. So if you want to check that out, if you are in the area, please check that out. I highly recommend going to an event like this. You learn so much. There's so much marketing going on, so much networking going on. You learn a lot of different things. You get to talk to the vendors face-to-face. You get to talk to other podcasters face-to-face. You get to talk to other people in the industry, people that I have met virtually. I get to talk to really in person, face-to-face, shake their hands, hang out. It was a wonderful time. Now, if you were listening to my very last episode with Rena Friedman Watts, I mentioned that when I do go up to Podcast Movement, that I was going to do a live stream recording directly from the hotel room each night I was there to kind of give my thoughts on what I thought of what I saw there at Podcast Movement while it was still fresh in my mind, which is really the best way to do any kind of like review on anything you see. The quicker you can get that on physical recording, the better. That's why I was thinking about doing that. So what I did was I made a live stream going directly to my YouTube channel directly from my hotel room. Now, what kind of gear did I use to pull this off? All I had with me was my MacBook Pro computer and one ATR 2100 microphone plugged right into the computer. No headphones, no interface, no extra anything, just a USB microphone. Now, the ATR 2100 microphone sells for about $70, give or take. I've seen it as low as $50. I've seen as much as $100. So it's somewhere in that ballpark. It's usually never more than $100 for that microphone. You can hand hold the microphone, or you can put it in a little like microphone cradle, like a little microphone stand if you really wanted to. I was just hand holding the microphone, which made it very easy to use because when you just hold the microphone in your hand, there's less things to worry about when you just have the microphone in your hand. There's no boom arm. There's no nothing to worry about. But before I tell you all the great things about Podcast Movement from my experience, I'm going to tell you about a new software that I actually picked up right before I left town. It's called Xsound. Or Xsound, or how do you say it? Xsound, I think is how you pronounce it. It's basically spelled the word sound, but remove the S and put an X where the S would go. So it's like Xsound is, I guess, how it is. Basically what it is, it's a AI-generated audio cleanup tool. Now, when it comes to audio cleanup tools, like AI-generated cool tools to clean your audio, I'm all about because it saves time. It sounds fairly good. And when it comes to making a podcast for yourself or for a client or anybody, You want to make sure these things sound amazing, and time really is money. So when it comes to all these things, I really had to push it through its paces to see what it really can do. Now, according to their website, this is what Xsound really does. It's an AI voice cleaner and removes background and noise. So it actually does a natural pitch correction. It, of course, removes background noise using AI. It says it cleans the voice and enhances the listening experience overall. So it's kind of like a one-stop shop. Drop your audio in there. It will kind of do some, AI magic to make it sound pretty good. There's lots of these tools to do kind of the same thing, but I got such a killer deal on this, software, I had to give it a shot. So I'm going to play you a clip right now of me sitting at my living room table with just a MacBook Pro using only the MacBook Pro microphone, talking directly into it, which is probably like the worst case scenario for any kind of guest you possibly could have, just talking into their laptop, doing like a Zoom call or something like that. This is going to be the worst case scenario for audio, talking directly into the MacBook Pro. This is what it sounds like before, and then I'm going to play you what it sounds like after I ran it through Xsound. So here is the raw audio. Okay, this is a test run. I am sitting about probably 2.5 feet away from the microphone on the laptop, talking right into it here at the dining room table. Just me and the MacBook Pro computer. That is it. No microphone, no nothing. Okay, and this is what it sounds like after I ran it through this new Xsound. Okay, this is a test run. I am sitting about probably 2.5 feet away from the microphone on the laptop, talking right into it here at the dining room table. Just me and the MacBook Pro computer. That is it. No microphone, no nothing. So as you can tell, it's fairly good at what it does, keeping the clarity, but also not muffling it too much. If you notice, a lot of these tools are designed to like remove background noise and, noise filtering type of tools really kind of like, makes the audio sound a little muddy, a little like filtered, a little too much bass, and they took the treble all the way out. That's kind of the key here, really. A lot of these tools will remove all the treble out of the audio because that treble is kind of like where all the echo, pitchy sound kind of hides. So if they remove that, it kind of removes some of that stuff, boosts a lot of that bass. That's what a lot of these tools kind of do. But anyways, I picked it up on sale. I think I only paid about $40 for the program with a lifetime usage. It's not monthly, but I do believe if you want to go per month, I'm on the website right now. Let's see their pricing. It was unlimited processing for up to 20 hours a month. It's about $12 a month is what you're charging. And I guess you can go single use for $5 a month. I don't know. There's a free version too, but the free version, this is almost like a joke. The free version says you only get 30 seconds of use on the free version. I mean, what are you supposed to do with 30 seconds? Like, how are you supposed to even use that for a podcast? A 30-second podcast? Yeah, you can't do that. And just like all the audio tools and audio enhancing feature things we use as podcast creators or even audio editors, all these tools are designed to take bad audio, make it sound good, and take good audio, make it sound great. That's what it's all about, making sure that if you have somebody coming in with bad audio, if it was recorded just on a laptop, you have the tools at your disposal to take their audio and make it sound at least fairly decent. And the reason why I'm bringing this up today is because when I did those live stream recordings in the hotel room from Podcast Movement, I took that audio and ran it through Xsound for this podcast today. So just keep in mind when you listen to the audio that I have ran that audio through Xsound. Not that it was like horrible or anything like that. Not that it was really bad. It's just that I wanted to make it sure it sounded the best for you. Okay, so this is going to be day one. This is right after I just checked into the hotel. I just went over to check things out. My very first live stream from the hotel on day one. Here it is. What's happening? How are you doing? We are live from Podcast Movement in Los Angeles. I am Chris, and this is Podtastic Audio, the live edition happening right now as I record this very episode. I am coming to you from my hotel room, which is here at the downtown LA area, which is right across from the event, which is happening right across the street, right over there. But I am here for Podcast Movement. This is the live stream. I promised you I would come to you live every single night, and I'm doing it right now. So I'm coming to you from the hotel room. Now, let me tell you about the day up here, what it was like checking in the whole thing about podcast movement. Now, listen, I have never been to any kind of like podcasting event of any kind like this at all. So this is a new experience for me coming up to an event like this. I'm not really in the corporate world, so being in a podcast event like this was a totally new thing. So I drove up here. I knew I had to check in this hotel like right around I'd say was it like 4 o'clock p.m. And with traffic, let me tell you, there was a ton of traffic coming up here. So what I did is that I left right around noontime in San Diego. I figured 2.5 hours, maybe a 3 hour drive up here. But there was a lot of traffic on the way up here, especially the more you get into like downtown area, lots of traffic. So I grabbed some food, got my truck all gassed up, got everything I need, make sure I'm all packed up, ready to roll, brought the computer, and here we are. And I'm running all the way up to Los Angeles. And then my GPS said something like, hey, there's a big road closure or freeway close or something like that. I didn't say what, but Apple Maps like redirected me up the 15 over the 78 to Oceanside, then up north. And I went that way all the way up there. So that's what I did. And I got up there, up to the Los Angeles area. Had a little hard time finding the hotel. But once I found the hotel, I was in the hotel and I went straight to the valet because I'm like, you know what? There's parking across the street, but this is not like the greatest neighborhood. And there's lots of homeless living around here and who knows what. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to drop my truck off in valet, pay a little extra, but to drop it off in valet, maybe they're going to take care of it. At least maybe hopefully park it in like a secured area or some sort. I got to pay a ton of money for that. No worries. I drop off the keys. I go inside and I check into the hotel and I say, hey, room for Chris, blah, 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 whatever. Get all my information. Great. Give my room key. Great. I get upstairs up to the hotel here. And the first thing I do is I get my computer all set up and then I get like my bag all unpacked. I get everything put away how I want it. And then I'm like trying to figure out how to get the Wi-Fi on the computer to work because it's not working. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to do a streaming, like a live stream later today, how am I going to do it if the computer's not picking up any of the Wi-Fi? It's not working. It's crashing. I don't know what the problem is. Now, I was like, you know what? I got time for this because I got to be over at the event to get my badge for Podcast Movement. So I kind of drop what I'm doing here. And then I head over to Podcast Movement, which is like really across the street. The hotel, like across the street. It's literally not that far, but I didn't know that. So I'm looking for it on the map, and there's lots of other buildings like in the area. So I'm like literally walking around the street trying to figure out how to get over to the event center where the actual podcast event is going to be at the other hotel. And it turns out it's actually just right across the street, like literally like one crosswalk. I didn't even know that. So here I am running around like a knucklehead. Anyways, I found the event and then I'm looking around because it's a big hotel. They've got other events going on at the same time, other things. But I think Podcast Movement is probably like the biggest event going on this weekend. So I go upstairs because there's a big escalator thing, takes you upstairs, 2 levels. You go upstairs and I finally see the Podcast Movement like sign, like the booth saying Podcast Movement this way. So I go over there and I see a crowd of people, lots of people like going down this like corridor. And I see all these people there, all these different things and different like booths and things like that. And I'm like, my gosh, well, I guess I better get in line. This must be the line to get your badge because today they said between, was it like 3 p.m. and like 7 p.m. is when you had to get in there to get your pass for Podcast Movement today. Great. So I go there, and on the left side, I see another booth, almost like you check in for like a hotel check-in style of like people over there checking things in. And I'm like, well, maybe that's where I need to go because this other line is going all the way to the end. And they said there is the Ambies kind of like podcast award thing going on, an event going on that same night, tonight. And I'm like, well, I don't have the tickets to go to that. So why would I go to that? And I asked the guy behind me in line, I'm like, hey, um, are you going for the tickets for the show or are you going to do the sign in to check in or what? How's this work? Oh, I think if you're just going to check in, you should go right over there. And there's nobody there. Great. So I hopped under the little rope thing and I went straight over there to the check-in booth. I said, I think I'm checking in. Did they give you a QR code? I said, yeah, they did. So let me scan the little QR code on my phone, right in their little scanner thing. My whole information popped up, my name, the podcast, my email, whatever. It all popped up on the screen. I said, that's great. Go ahead. And then I got the little pass. What do I do? It's over there somewhere. And I still have it. Of course, I need it for tomorrow. But I have the pass. And then I'm walking around, like perusing the hallway. And I'm checking out the cool different things. Now, all the vendors, all their booths were already set up. But they did not have any of the people working there. I guess they're coming in tomorrow or something. I don't know. So we're walking around. Well, I'm by myself, walking around. And I'm checking out the different booths and I'm looking around, all these different people and all the different things. And then I realized there's an upstairs section. There's escalators that go upstairs. So I get on the escalator and I go upstairs, see what's up there. Now up there's another section of like different booths set up for different vendors. Now, a lot of these vendors, from what I could see today, a lot of them are just like StreamYard, Libsyn, some other podcasting stuff is up there. I think a lot of it is industry stuff, a lot of AI stuff I've seen too out here. It seems like a lot of like, hey, send your podcast over here and we'll generate this wonderful stuff for you for your podcast. Lickety split, bada boom, bada bing. And that's kind of how they do it. And so after I did that stuff, I look at my email and there's a thing that says, hey, there's a big party going on downstairs in the hotel lobby where it's like a bar and like a bunch of chairs and tables, a big old get together thing happening at 7 p.m. If you get down there at 7 p.m., if when the first one's down there, we're giving you a free drink ticket. I'm like, why not? Free drinks? Hell yeah. So then I head on down there a little early and I see some people down there mingling and hanging out. And I don't be all nervous. So I go to the bar and then I order myself a drink. And then I look at the receipt. And I'm like, holy crap, my gosh. So I see the receipt, pay for it, whatever. And then I'm hanging out there, and this lady comes up to me, and she's talking about podcasting. You know me, of course, I'm talking about podcasting. So she's talking to me about podcasting, and then I'm like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, we start talking about different shows and different things, where they're from, where I'm from, all that kind of stuff. Her husband have a podcast. Great. They do that. And then I start meeting other people, and then I met the other two ladies who were talking about podcasting and stuff like that. I talked to them like the rest of the night. We hung out the whole rest of the night. We exchanged business cards, all that stuff. And I rarely drink. So I'm a little buzzed right now. So excuse me for that. But, getting's good, I guess. That's how I do it. So anyways, then I go over after we kind of went our different ways towards the end of the evening. I was getting kind of hungry. I said, I got to get something to eat because I've been drinking so much tonight with the free drinks and all that stuff. So I've been drinking. And then I go over to a Smash Burger, which happens to be like in the courtyard area of the crypto arena, which used to be the Staples Center. This is where the hotel is in that little pocket. So there was a Smash Burger. Went over there, grabbed a burger, walked back to the hotel, which literally it's like across the street. It's like so close. I didn't realize how close it was until I physically got here and found out how close it really was. It's literally nothing at all. Walk across the street, no big deal. Got all my stuff. And here I am streaming for you. Although I cannot get the Wi-Fi to work in this hotel. I'm using my iPhone hotspot to physically get this thing done. And is it working? I don't know. We'll find out, won't we? But that is all I've done so far today. And it looks fun. I haven't seen any really events or anything happening tonight other than all the people that probably know each other and they're maybe doing their own thing, and they're probably just hanging out and doing whatever they're doing and all that stuff. But most of the people I've heard here tonight so far are here for networking. They're here to network with other people and other podcasters or whatever it may be. That's kind of the reason why I'm here too, is to network with other people. So that's kind of why I'm here. But so much fun. And I cannot wait to see what tomorrow is in store for all this great stuff. But so far, this is day one. I just got here. And so far, so good. I'm going to be here tonight, tomorrow night, and that's it, I think. We come back on Thursday. So, but anyways, if you have any questions, you can comment, whatever you want to do. I'm going to try to live stream as soon as I get a chance to do it. It can't always be exactly your time or whatever. It's whenever I get done doing this kind of stuff, and we'll get it up, set up, ready to roll. So until next time, until tomorrow, happy podcasting. That was fantastic. That was the very first time I got up there to Podcast Movement, checking the lay of the land, figuring things out, and moving on to my official first real full day at Podcast Movement. That was Wednesday. Now, Wednesday was a big day, a lot of big speakers, a lot of things happening, a party at the end to cap it all off. And here is that recording that I did that same night after getting back to my hotel room from Podcast Movement. We are live. We're live, coming to you from Podcast Movement. What's happening? I am Chris from Podtastic Audio, and this little guy is the duck from StreamYard, which is actually happening to make this whole thing even happen tonight with StreamYard powering this entire thing live. That's right, we are live. Hey, what's happening? How are you doing out there in podcast land? I actually got this from the StreamYard booth. Talked to the guys today. So today is our official first day of Podcast Movement here. And let me tell you how it all went down today is that I got up extremely early today to get this even done. And because the very first thing that I wanted to see this morning was 9 a.m. was James Cridlin was doing a presentation. Followed behind him was Amy Poehler. And so I wanted to make sure I got over there, which is just like a walk across the street. No big deal. I walked across the street and then I got over there and I got into where I needed to be. And I found the room they were going to be doing the presentation. It was like the big main hall because they are like the big two major keynote speakers for the whole event. So I know James because I've had him on this show, Podtastic Audio, as a guest. And he's been very kind to add me to Pod News. And, when I had the 100th episode of Podtastic Audio, he actually gave me a shout out on Pod News about my episode coming out. So that was fantastic. So I go over there and I get in there, found a seat up front, and another guy comes over and he's like, hey, we start talking for a while. And then they had this whole networking thing going on to where people at the event, you have these badges. Let me find it for you here. These things, these badges, as you can see on the video here, and the audio version, you're not going to be able to see this, but it's like a little badge with your name on it and a QR code. So the thing about the podcast movement is they want you to have this app because on the app is where you have your profile. So when people scan this, it automatically adds them to your list of contacts or your connections within the actual Podcast Movement app. My problem was I didn't have a lot of actual stuff on my profile. In fact, my profile was blank. I had nothing. I had my name and maybe my email, and that's it. Maybe the Podtastic Audio might be on there, but no social media links, no picture. I had nothing on there. So I'm scanning these guys and I'm realizing, what does mine look like on yours? Because if yours has all your cool stuff and mine has nothing, then I'm like, oh, I want to do that too. So while the first event's getting set up, I'm quickly on my phone trying to add all the things, add the LinkedIn, add the Twitter, add the Instagram, add a photo, do all that stuff while the event is about to take off. Now, James Cridlin comes in. His thing was great. He did his whole presentation. It was fantastic. He went over basically the numbers of podcasting, talking about the industry, how the Apple is always number one in the charts and Spotify, then trickle down the rest, and how the numbers go up, they go down, what causes them to go up and go down. Apple, how they changed the way they download podcasts. It's not automatic anymore. I physically have to download when you download, and that is what's causing the dip in some of these numbers. Things of that sort. A lot of data-driven type of stuff. Then right after he left the stage, Amy Poehler came up with another individual, and they did like a sit-down talking across from each other on the stage with microphones like this in their hand, talking about all the shows they're working on, all the shows they have coming out, and then it's basically like a big push for all her stuff. She did mention how she liked podcasting, how she was into podcasts, she likes listening to podcasts. And one thing I kind of caught from this was that when she went to go show some of her samples on the big screen, I was like, okay, great. They're probably going to do like a video thing. Maybe it's like a sitcom, a show. Maybe it's like a Zoom chat or a Riverside type of chat thing going on. But no, they actually just played a still image with audio of her shows, like shows she's promoting and things like that. And it got me thinking that like, even the big celebrities that have lots of podcasts under their name and their production teams and all that, they're pushing audio. Like audio is their thing. In fact, also there was another company that's doing this big major thing, and it's going to be like audio only. It's an audio drama done in the style of like a theatrical performance or perhaps maybe even a movie. They're using like actual stages and actors, and they're doing the whole show on like a sound stage, and they actually have like the actors like acting it all out live, but it's just recording all the audio. But the cool thing is about that is that they're doing it for that new Dolby Atmos or whatever that Apple new Apple Audio spatial audio. That's what it is. Spatial audio. Sorry, I've had a few drinks. I just got back from the iHeart Festival, iHeart party just now. So, but anyways, they were pushing that stuff. I also thought it was very, very fascinating that they're really focusing on audio only stuff, like big money and big production for something that's just audio. It's not like a video, like everyone says videos, video, whatever. So the rest of the day in the, like, I guess the hallway section is where they have all of the different booths. From Riverside, speaking of audio, Libsyn was there, StreamYard was there. That's where I got the little ducky, was from the StreamYard booth. I said, dude, I got to get one of those things. Can I get one of your ducks? They said, absolutely, you can. I got a shirt, got some swag, stickers, all that great stuff. I even told them that we're doing StreamYard like this right now. I said, I'm testing out your product. I love it. I'm only using the free plan, but hey, you guys will hook me up with a paid version? I'm all down for that. So Ducky says, yeah, I'm all down for that too. Give me the money. Yeah, Ducky's like, I want the money. Give me the money. So, but anyways, so I talk to these guys and I get all their swag and I hang out with them. And on the app I have, it tells you where the different events are. So if you want to catch the event, you know exactly like where it is, when it is, so you can actually make it happen. And so I saw probably like maybe 4 or 5 different events. And 2 of them were people I knew. I knew Brian Cunningham and I knew Dave Jackson. Both were doing events. And then another guy who was doing talking about doing video editing. His event, I can't remember the dude's name, but because I met him and I scanned his information in my phone app or whatever it is. So that's how you do it. We meet people, you scan them, or if you can't remember to scan them, don't worry. Everybody was here. Like all their information is like listed in the app directory. So you scroll through there, find the person. You can message them right on the app, or I think you can just go there and like find their social media, which is what I've been doing, finding all their social media. So anyways, I go to this other event about video editing, which is very fascinating, talking about the different camera angles and the headroom and the different lighting and the different things and all the different backdrops and different stuff. Like this is all just StreamYard Live direct to YouTube, which is fine. Whatever. It's easy for me to do it. It's simple, like on the go, like this, which is great. So, and then I went to this one event that I saw on my schedule. It said it was all about video. It was all about podcast graveyard, like talking about podcasts that have died. And I'm like, well, that'd be a great thing to talk about, or at least learn about, like why our show's dying, and maybe there's ways we can prevent doing that. And so I get over there to the area where the presentation is. It was not in a big room. It was like in like a side. There's like a side section that's like had benches and had a presenter stage and like a microphone and all that. But it was like a really small little area. And there was a lady there giving a presentation about like something serious topic stuff. So when she wrapped up, I said, that was great. Hearing from you, that was great stuff. I appreciate you doing what you do. We talked for a minute. So we're waiting for the next guy to show up. And it's about podcasts dying off. And he never shows up. And they call his name on the loudspeaker, like, we're trying to get so-and-so to this stage because we're all waiting for him to show up. And he never shows up. And I thought, how funny is that? You have a show, or you have a presenter talking about your show dying, and yet this guy never shows up. So maybe his whole presentation died already. Maybe it's a joke on us, is that, yeah, we're talking about pod fading, but my whole presentation just pod faded by itself. I don't know. So, but that was fun. And then I also, by the way, had to grab lunch somewhere because, you're eating around here. There's food here. They sell food here in the like convention hall. Dude, it was like literally like airplane food, like little baskets, little preheated little things, for like $25. Like, screw that. In this area, there's a few food places. The only real food place that's like fast food-ish is Smash Burger. So I went over to the Smash Burger twice over there. And then, so I did that. And then at the end, they had another party going on in this big exhibit hall. And it said free drinks for anybody, first 100 people to go through. Dude, free drinks, hook me up. You know what I'm saying? So I head over there, and then I get my little ticket, go get myself a Bacardi and Coke, and drink that, mingle with a few different people. That's the thing, too. If you don't know anybody really here, I mean, you meet people here, but like, if you don't have your own crew, your own core people, you kind of feel like you're kind of an outsider a little bit. But I did my best. I talked to a few people, made my rounds, drank my thing. And then I found out Christine was actually coming into town at the very same time. And so she was coming back to the hotel. So I wanted to let her into the hotel. So let me walk over to the hotel, meet Christine. I came back with like a few minutes to spare. And then she came in. I got her to the room. We got checked in, and we figured out where we're going to eat. So we went over to Lazy Dog. There's a restaurant over in this whole area. There's like Lazy Dog, Yard House. There's a few other places in the area next to Crypto Center, which is where the Lakers play. So we're over there grabbing lunch and stuff. And then we find out, yeah, there's the iHeart Media party. It's like a big, giant party they do for this whole podcasting thing. So I'm like, well, maybe we can both get in because you're with me. Maybe we'll just walk right in. Thinking that, I know they'll check their badge. They'll check they'll check these ID things. But what if you just say we don't have one? Or what if maybe I have mine and maybe they'll like let you in, right? So I said, come on, let's try it. So we get over there and they're like really checking all the badges. They're like, anybody doesn't have a badge, they're turning them away. So Christine's like, well, I don't want to go. Okay, whatever. So I walk her back over to the hotel, and she goes, hangs out in the hotel. I go back over there to the iHeart party. I get inside there. It is a massive festival. It's got food. It's got DJs spinning. They're giving out free wine, and there's little wine. People walk around with free wine things. I had wine, the other drinks too, of course, and all that regular stuff. I met up with some of the people there. Talked to a few people, did the whole networking thing where you scan the badge and you get the information. I did that kind of stuff. Didn't hang out there too long because, like I said, I don't really know a lot of people were there. I met people there, but I think a lot of these people that are there like already know each other. They either work in the industry, so it's like their own crew that's already there, or perhaps maybe they came with people to the whole event and they're there. Going there by myself, I just felt kind of weird, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting too old for this kind of things. It's different. The last time I was in a bar or a club like that, was when I was on the prowl and I was single and younger, and maybe Vegas, things like that. But this is a little different feel for me anyways, but that's just me. But anyways, I had a wonderful time. This whole event's been a lot of stuff, and I've been running around the clock, like up super early, drinking out late. And well, it's not even that late really, but it feels late when you've been up at like 6 a.m. and you've been running around doing this stuff. So, but I'm going to go check out the event tomorrow, and then I'm going to head on home tomorrow. And I don't know when I'm going to do the live stream tomorrow. If I do one, I probably might be when I get home. I don't know. But this has been an amazing time, an amazing trip. I recommend anybody, if they could do this, come out here and check this stuff out. If you can, I would. But me and the StreamYard Duck are going to sign off for tonight. Yeah, we're going to sign off for tonight. Hey, keep on podcasting. Keep on podcasting. And I will catch you on the next one. Okay, that was fantastic. You know, it's always great to do a live stream after an event live where people can see it on YouTube or you can hear it here. And I was always thinking that, you know what, right after the event, if you want to join me on the live stream, great. If you want to stick around and watch the YouTube version of it, great. Or if you want to listen to it right here on the regular podcast, great. Be everywhere you possibly can, because you just never know how, what, where people are going to experience your stuff and how they're going to find your actual content. You know, people discover shows from all walks of life and all different ways and all different things. And that's kind of the thing about all this stuff, is that there's not one silver bullet on how to grow your physical audience. It's like, oh, you just do that one thing and all of a sudden you're going to have 1 million downloads. Oh, if you just decide to do like, a live stream to YouTube, all of a sudden you're going to get like millions of downloads. That's not always the case. And the same thing with maybe if you have like, say, a big time guest on your show, same thing too. Oh, if I get that big time guest, if I only get them on my show, I'm going to have, millions of downloads, and on my show, it's going to be mega popular and all this great stuff. It's kind of a combination of all the things. That's what I've learned. Whether you're doing video or audio or doing the Instagram thing or the Twitter thing or what X now, I guess, or the LinkedIn thing, or you're doing the email thing. I mean, if you can do all the things and juggle them all very well and spend maybe, it all takes time. If you don't have time to do it, then you don't have time to do it. It's just the way it is, because we're all just single, just solo podcasters here doing everything by ourselves. And we have regular jobs, and we have kids, and we have stuff to do. I get it. I'm in the same boat. So it's hard for me to juggle everything. So it's hard to even put all my energy in just one, let alone like all of the things. But if you can sprinkle your little love everywhere around, maybe, just maybe, someone might find your stuff and like it. So that's why I've been tinkering a little bit with video, especially with the live streaming video, just to get my, feet wet a little bit. I'm not expecting it to to have my show just take off and get millions of downloads. I'm not expecting that at all. It's just getting a little more exposure to somebody that may not be aware of my show or my stuff. That's the only reason why I would even do it. I guess the one thing that I really learned from my experience at Podcast Movement and talking to other people in the industry is that really good content really reigns supreme on almost anything. No matter how much fluff you put up there, no matter how many things you try to sell, no matter how many cameras you're using or microphones you're using or the best gear, all the great crazy stuff, none of that really matters if you have no value to deliver. And speaking of delivering value, I hope I have delivered some value to you. And if you could do me a small favor, if you could hit that follow button or subscribe button in whichever platform you're listening to the show to right now, that would be awesome, because that way you can be informed and never have to miss a future episode. It'll be there waiting for you on the next one. And that is where you'll find me. And until then, happy podcasting.